Floyd Mueller from the Exertion Games Lab. Many co-authors and I are presenting experience towards experiencing eating as play. And this is also part of our vision in the lab, to experience the body as play. You might remember we go with the assumption that we've used to play with digital content to now playing with the digital using our bodies, and what we really want is experiencing our bodies as digital play. And eating as play is part of that. So what I want you to do now, please, is form groups of 2 or maybe 3. So if you are 2, maybe you do the 3. Maybe if you turn around and form a team of 3, 2 or 3 over there. You're a team of 2 over there. Can you maybe join over there? That would be great. Team of 2, great. Maybe you can just join over there. We've got a team of 3, 2. If you work together there, that's 3. That's 2. It's 2 right over there. If you join maybe them, here, do a team of 3 or 2 and 2. You're 2, beautiful. Thank you. Can you also, like, maybe you 2 work together? You 2, you 3, 2 and 2. Perfect. 2. Beautiful. Maybe you can join there. So you can form a team of 3. You actually want to join them? You're a team of 3. Very easy. You might have seen a piece of chocolate in front of you. So what I want you to do now in your team, open the chocolate. Don't eat it yet, don't touch it yet. Just open it if you don't mind. If anybody wants to try a vegan piece, I've got vegan options here. Anybody? Yes, awesome, here. So just open the chocolate, close your eyes and smell the chocolate. Just smell the chocolate if you don't mind. Smell the chocolate, open your eyes again. And now I want to give you the option. Like, if you have got the chocolate piece, you see it's a little koala. Oh, cute. So it's a little koala, so you have the option of either biting the head of the koala, or you can feed it to your partner. Or you can do neither. Choose and play, please. All right, while you're eating, you hopefully realize that eating can be a form of play, right? And there's certain strategies that you can employ to experience eating as play, right? So here the strategy is, first of all, we consider the entire eating process, right? We started off with unwrapping and then smelling it, and then we actually engaged in social interaction. We employed to make it actually break social norms, because you might have fed a stranger. That's another strategy. And you made eating challenging, because you had to decide whether you bite the little head of the koala off or not. So there's certain strategies you can make to experiencing eating as play. So thank you very much for playing along with that. You might want to ask, why do you want to make eating into a form of play? And that's a really good question, but I think the answer lies in our childhood, right? So we start playing with food in order to figure out what food is and what food we like. And that determines who we are as human beings, right? You know the joke, how do you recognize a vegan? Well, he or she will tell you. So this is a core characteristic of who we are in terms of what foods we like and don't like, and that forms very much part of our culture. It's not just kids who play with food, but I would argue every time we have a social event, we involve food. There's no birthday party without food or drinks. There is no TEI with food or drinks. That's just fundamental to how we engage as human beings, and that's part of play, we argue, because it's social play what we are engaging here in. When it comes to technology, there's some really good examples. For example, Instagram is a typical app example where people take pictures of playfully engaging with food when they arrange it really nicely. So there's good examples when it comes to technology and food. However, we find that most apps when it comes to food do this. They reduce food to calorie intake and allow you to therefore track and enter calories. And that's important on one hand. On the other hand, we think it really reduces the social, playful experience of eating into calorie counting, and that misses the entire richness of what eating is. And therefore, that's, I think, a very big missed opportunity. Why is that important? Well, we believe, as I mentioned earlier, that play in itself is fundamental. However, we also want to point out, if you experience eating as play, it can also facilitate things such as mindful eating that we heard about yesterday. Mindful eating is now actually recognized by a lot of government organizations as a useful strategy to combat things such as mindless eating that leads to obesity and all these associated problems. Here's a leaflet that governments actually put out. For example, they recommend strategies such as, don't hurry, or here, respect your body and health. And they all say no multitasking, don't engage with gadgets while you eat. And we agree with that. However, it's only because we design these gadgets really badly. They're not really designed to support eating as play. However, we argue if we design them right, they can actually facilitate experiencing eating as play. So again, we looked at our past work in this area in order to collect a couple of strategies, so as a meta view, in order to help you if you want to design future systems in order to experience eating as play. The first one we highly recommend is break cultural norms, right? We've done that just earlier. They broke the cultural norm of eating with a stranger and possibly even feeding a stranger. And I want to show you a game where this really came to the fore. It's called You Better Eat to Survive, that we presented here previously. It's a VR game in which you have to escape from a deserted island, and you also have to make sure that you don't starve to death, so you have to eat. But the food is not virtual, the food is physical, but because it's VR, you can't see the food, so you need your co-player to help you find the food. I'll show you a video about that.
With VR games getting more and more popular in recent years, ways to control those games are also changing. Earlier studies proved that bodily actions, such as hand gestures, are rated best. So we thought, why don't we use eating as a control mechanism for VR games? Eating as an interaction for VR games is very new, and the big question is, how to design games with edible interactions. After testing our game over and over and conducting a user study, we developed strategies for designers to answer that question.
You're in this sort of island, and it's all about exploring the island and staying alive while finding relevant things to help me get off the island.
Your partner's kind of your eyes to the outside world, so he's trying to help you survive in the virtual world.
It's a big trust exercise, basically, and then you're having to really openly communicate with somebody else as well.
I felt like it was a group experience. I wasn't sort of sealed away in like an avatar world. I was in the now. It's still in this world, you know?
It sometimes felt frustrating to work with a partner who didn't have the same audiovisual cues that I did. But when we finally worked it out, it felt really good because it meant that I was successful in communicating what I wanted and I needed to do in the game.
Any situation, whether it's it's virtual or if it's real, it's still scary. So having someone there, it calms you down immediately.
Whenever you start to black out, somebody needs to feed you, revive you.
Do you feel like you're bonding because you're helping each other in a situation? I need to feed this person.
I guess it was satisfying hearing the crunch sound in your own mouth and then your vision repairing snaps you back into the thought of the real world.
The real world aspect of it was really good, the elevator. But just another game where you're isolated in your world.
It's unique, it's different, there's an interaction between the real world and the virtual, and it's really enjoyable.
So this is You Better Eat to Survive, and the strategy here that I want to highlight again is it broke the culture norm, right, of feeding somebody, but it also made eating challenging, right, because you needed another person to help you actually find the food. Another example of where we made eating challenging is the wonderful project by Rohit, Edipals, that we presented previously, in which we took basically a 3D printer and allowed it to print chocolate. And then we measured your physical activity during the day, and depending on how much physical activity you did, your piece of chocolate at the end of the day was printed with a 3D chocolate printer, and it was more beautiful the more varied and the more physical activity you did. Our national TV station got a hold of that, and then they did a little feature about that I want to show you. and it highlights the breaking of the social norm of combining chocolate and physical activity. And you can see what the local TV news station thought about that.
Sweating up a storm is being rewarded with sweet treats as part of a new study. 3D printing technology is taking data from heart rate monitors and transforming the results into chocolate. Madeline Slattery explains.
It's a motivational message dripping in chocolate. Everything that's printed here is a reflection of Kate Russell's daily exercise.
I basically said an hour a day, and I got a straight face last night.
She's been wearing a heart rate monitor that connects to the printer. At the end of the day, it reveals how good or bad she's been using symbols and subtle hints.
If the person has done a lot of exercise, then it would say, well done mate. If the person hasn't done much exercise, he would still get a chocolate, but the message would be slightly different.
Rohit came up with the technology after finding results on fitness apps lacked imagination.
Why not make it much more tangible and cherishing?
It can even print what the user's heart rate looks like over the day. For Kate, it's a fun way to gauge how her fitness goals are tracking.
It takes you away from all your screens because you have to actually watch something that's not the screen.
The reason chocolate is being used is because it's one of the best mediums for 3D food printing, not to mention something most people enjoy, but it's just a small treat. Each printout contains just 2 squares.
Dark chocolate which you are using also has some form of health benefits.
Even so, dietitians think a spoonful of sugar shouldn't be an incentive for breaking a sweat.
I'd suggest that it wasn't the food that we were rewarded with. Maybe just a smiley face or the frown face would be enough.
Madeline Slattery, 9 News.
So thank you, 9 News. So here again is the breaking of the cultural norm of combining physical activity and chocolate, but also making the eating challenging, right? Because you have to do physical activity in order to get your chocolate. And the last strategy I want to highlight is that you can also design for the entire stages of the eating experience, right? You've seen that in your example. You can start, and in the videos as well, you can start with the preparation of the food, with the feeding of the food, but you can also look at the actual eating action. And here's a video where we investigated that last bit of actually getting the food in your mouth. We did that with ice cream. Ice cream is an augmented ice cream that makes sounds while you eat it to underline that eating ice cream is already playful.
Design ice cream. Ice cream is a novel capacitated sensing ice cream cone that plays different sounds when eating ice cream in order to support a playful eating experience and facilitate a positive relationship with food. We study how players explore the different auditory interaction possibilities with their eating actions, while the different sounds in turn modify those eating actions.
Very rude ice cream, not burping at you.
The knowledge gained from ice cream can be used to create novel, playful eating experiences. It might also be useful when aiming to create eating interventions that people might actually enjoy.
Oh, this is weird.
Aligning with the idea of mindful eating that promotes a positive relationship with food.
I've never had an experience like that made me, I suppose, care so much about my food. I think normally with ice cream I would just, wolf it down.
Knowing my friends would make it into a game, and it's also delicious because ice cream.
You can sort of, I guess, encourage you to eat certain foods, and let's say foods that you don't normally would want to eat, with interesting sounds it might actually appeal to you to actually want to try to eat more.
With our work, we demonstrate how interactive technology can be used to draw attention to the food, which is a key strategy for mindful eating that advocates an enjoyable relationship with food in order to prevent mindless eating.
So this was ice cream, and you hopefully saw that we designed there, or highlighted that we can design across the entire stages of the experience. So to sum up, here are our 3 strategies that we hope you can take home and then apply to your playful eating experiences. And with that, I conclude our talk on towards experiencing eating as play. As I mentioned, this is part of our strategy, of our lab vision to experiencing the body as play. Here are the 3 strategies again. My name is Floyd Mueller from the Exertion Games Lab. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Floyd.